Good morning and welcome to Ryerson Broadcast News. I'm Christine Wilson.
And I'm Taria Isri. Here's what's happening in Toronto today. Food prices go up, a neighborhood's reputation goes down, and find out why the Junos are asking artists to take off their shoes. Here's Christine with our top story.
Thanks, Taria. Last November, the Canadian Senate passed Bill S-10 in an attempt to get tough on crime. If passed, the act will amend the Controlled Drug Substance Act. The changes will increase the number of people going to prison, since even small offenses will mean a mandatory minimum sentence. In response to the bill, many people have joined to stop it from being approved. Here's Brittany Harris with the story.
It's cold, wet, and overcast at Old City Hall today, but that didn't stop protesters from gathering outside its doors at noon. Ex-prisoners, drug users, and activists gathered to fight Bill S-10.
Today to oppose the Harper government, and we're here today to oppose their tough on crime agenda. We're not part of their economy to just go through their prisons, to go through their systems, to keep judges and lawyers, prison guards, everyone in business.
One of the changes the bill proposes is a minimum sentence of 1 year for minor drug offenses. To accommodate an increase in prison population caused by the bill, the government plans to expand prisons. Phoenix McKee believes prisons don't work.
I've been a former prisoner in and out of institutions since I was about 14 to 22, and they do nothing that actually help anybody. It's a matter of warehousing, holding people in cells.
The protesters marched from Old City Hall to the architecture firm that will be in charge of the $2 billion prison expansion. Zoe Dodd considers this a poor use of taxpayers' money.
And I think it's really important for people to know in this country that we should be using this kind of money to invest in our families, invest in kids, invest in education, give people opportunities, build schools, make university accessible, those sorts of things.
Despite the protests, the bill has already gone through 2 readings and could become law as early as this month. This is Brittany Harris at Ryerson Broadcast News.
India is home to 17% of the world's populations. Census officials say the country added 181 million people over the last decade. The increase is almost equivalent to the entire population of Brazil. Yet this is the first time in 90 years that India's population growth is at its lowest. United Nations projections show that India could overtake China as the world's most populous nation by 2030.
Last year, there were fires in Australia and floods in 3 prairies. Crops of wheat, barley, and other common grains have gone down in quality and supply. The result? Higher prices for grains as well as the drink they produce, your favorite brand of beer. The Toronto Star has reported that 2011 will see a rise in the price of the bubbly, bitter drink. But should beer drinkers start stocking up on booze? Derek Kirk has the story.
Nothing beats an ice-cold pint after a hard day's work. But the Toronto Star has reported that a global increase in the price of grains may mean a rise in the cost of beer. Tom Childs is a self-proclaimed beer snob and travels all the way from Newcastle to this large Toronto LCBO. So you hadn't heard that the price of beer was going up now that had you heard?
Well, I had heard, but it doesn't bother me at all.
Why not?
Because good beer is worth paying for.
Some, however, won't be as accepting of higher prices.
It's already too high. Definitely not pleased about it. I didn't hear nothing, but already you can see the prices are badly inflated.
While news reports may paint a bleak picture for Canadians' favorite beverage, it may not all be bad news. Manufacturers can explore avenues such as price fixture agreements and alternate ingredients to keep costs down. Toronto's Steam Whistle Brewery has a barley supply contract for 2011, which will keep prices stable. Also, because beer is 92% water, barley is a fairly small component of the process.
But remember that the 2011 harvest hasn't even yet been planted. So we've yet to see what this summer's barley crop's going to provide. And if it's a really great year, a great growing season with a robust crop, we'll be fine. You just don't know.
Although news reports of a price increase persist, all signs point to stability at least for this year. And that's something to raise a glass to. Derek Kirk, Ryerson Broadcast News.
Tim Hortons is rolling up the prices. The company said the price jump is because of the cost of sugar, wheat, and coffee has gone up. The wholesale cost of coffee has doubled. Canadians can expect to pay 7 cents more for their large double-double. Prices go up April 11th. And we can also get ready for higher gas prices. Drivers in Toronto will be paying $1.30 per litre by Friday. This is because crude oil has reached a record high. Canadians will have to pay more to fill up their gas tanks and also their stomachs. Turia Isri reports.
Gas prices are on the rise again. The price of fuel has gone up 20 cents per litre. But drivers aren't the only ones affected. More expensive transportation costs means more expensive groceries. Shoppers are expected to pay an extra $340 a year at the grocery store. Mystic Muffin, a small business owned by Elias McCool, is already feeling the effects.
A case of tomatoes, $47, folks, just if you're watching. So don't ask for extra tomatoes because you're going to pay more. $47 to $52 for iceberg lettuce. $48 for romaine.
Prices are at an all-time high. Elias has had to put up a sign. He has added $1 to salads and an extra 50 cents to combos.
We already lost a guy. He was so upset when he saw the sign we're charging $1 extra for a salad.
The increased price hasn't stopped regulars like Walter Brierley from eating at Mystic Muffin.
For a 50-cent increase, that's not going to stop me from eating a healthy lunch. And I'm here at least 3 times a week. So.
If food costs don't go down, Elias will have to raise the price of his banana bread for the first time in 18 years. For Ryerson News, I'm Turia Isri. Just because you're not on the royal wedding guest list doesn't mean you'll miss out. The nuptials between Kate Middleton and Prince William will take place at Westminster Abbey. The wedding will air live on April 29th. In other news, Toronto's Dundas and Sherbourne neighborhood is close to some of the city's main attractions. Full of crime and violence, the area gives residents something to be afraid of. Alicia Ross reports.
Jane in Finchintown. Toronto's Dundas and Sherbourne neighborhood is minutes away from the Dundas Square. It is also one of the city's darkest and most dangerous areas. The Toronto Star has ranked this neighborhood #1 in almost all categories of violent crime. Beth Pelton, a nurse at Dundas and Sherbourne's Street Health Clinic, talks about the area.
It has been called the epicenter of poverty in Canada. It has the most number of shelters. It has the most number of rooming houses, boarding houses. Many of them that we see in our nurse clinics have substance use and abuse issues and are homeless and living very marginalized lives.
Dundas and Sherbourne is close to some of Toronto's biggest attractions, but this convenience comes at a price. Many residents sacrifice their comfort and their safety.
I don't go out alone at night. I try to make sure that I have friends with me and just try not to put myself in any situation where I don't feel comfortable with, because there are a lot of people around that may not have my best intentions.
But it's not only women at risk.
Some guy punched me in the back of the head, stole my smokes and shit, so I got jumped, not thinking, because I had my back turned, came up behind me and hit me.
The neighborhood's business owners see even more than the average resident.
There's been a couple of times where someone got shot right outside my store, like at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, and the cops would tape it off, and they don't let you in the store until they're finished their investigation.
With so much crime, the Dundas and Sherbourne area can only improve. City councillors say there's a lot being done. The area's residents, though, aren't seeing any change.
As soon as my lease is up, I'm definitely out of here.
Alicia Ross, Ryerson Broadcast News.
Ruffians played their first well-received show in Montreal last Friday. The group has lots of fans, but they say Montrealers have never liked them much. That changed this weekend. When they returned to the city, they played to a sold-out crowd. For the first time, Montrealers hollered their names, chanted their lyrics, and danced to their songs all night long.
University students are gearing up for the summer. Well, some of them are. Fashion students at Ryerson are hard at work. They're getting ready for the 22nd annual Mass Exodus show. Mass Exodus is Canada's largest student-run fashion show. Fashion, theatre, and communication students are involved. Even clothing store Le Chateau is joining in. Alyssa Garrison reports.
Fashion students at Ryerson are sewing, slicing, and stressing over Mass Exodus, Canada's largest student-run fashion show. This year's theme is Zenith and Nadir, a loose interpretation of light and dark. In just 2 weeks, 59 fourth-year students will show their designs to an audience of nearly 5,000. Erin Holman spent over 40 hours last week working on her menswear line.
Basically call it the glorified sweatshop. So this weekend, a horror story for me this weekend was working with plaid. I had never worked with plaid before, and you have to match it precisely. There have been people that have sewn their hands through the sewing machine.
To promote Mass Exodus, students are setting up a window display at Le Chateau on Yonge Street. The Canadian clothing store is one of the event's main sponsors.
We've been planning since September, so this is a big deal, a big production. A lot of people involved. Other than fashion, we also have theatre, school involved.
But there's still a lot of work to get done. Designers are putting the finishing touches on their garments, but as of now, the show's runway is still in pieces in a hallway. Mass Exodus 2011 will run from April 7th to 8th, with 5 shows in total. I'm Alyssa Garrison from Ryerson Broadcast News.
In sports news, the Toronto Blue Jays continued a positive opening to the season with last night's 3-5 win over the Oakland A's. Travis Snyder hit a 3-run homer in the 4th inning for the winning runs. Yunel Escobar suffered a head injury when the shortstop slid into third base with a triple in the 5th inning.
With the Juno Awards turning 40 this year, many are putting on exhibitions to celebrate the anniversary. All across Toronto, people have the opportunity to see famous musician memorabilia, from photos to shoes. Here's Madeline Santos with the story.
Music is in the air and in the shoes. Once a year, hundreds of Canadian musicians come together to celebrate the annual Juno Awards. But this year, there's been more to celebrate as the Junos turned 40. While music shows dominated Toronto's concert halls, hotels, and theaters, the Battersea Museum partnered with the Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences to create a special exhibit called Juno Soul to represent the past 4 decades of Canadian music. Sarah Beamborg is the exhibition manager at the museum and is one of the creators of the Juno Soul exhibit.
It was created actually at the Junos Initiative. They were doing celebrations and a bunch of Toronto, citywide initiatives for the 40th anniversary, and they approached us to see if we'd be interested. And we thought that shoes and music was a good fit.
Juno Soul features over 40 memorable pairs of shoes of past and present Juno winners and nominees, including Shania Twain, Nickelback, and the recent addition to the exhibit, Justin Bieber. Since this past November, many people have visited the Battersea Museum's Juno Soul exhibit, including York student David Herrera.
There's different selections of shoes you can see. I had Nickelback, they had the new Justin Bieber shoe, which was pretty intense. I saw a lot of girls scurrying over that, but it's a very different art form, very different gallery, so it's really interesting, it's really awesome.
When the exhibit ends, the musicians must decide what to do with their shoes.
They're here on loan right now, but at the end of the exhibition, the artists have 3 choices. They can get the shoes back if they want them. We can take them into our personal collection, our permanent collection, and then the rest of them are going to be auctioned off for music counts.
Although the Juno celebration is over, visitors can still come to the Battersea Museum to see the Juno Soul exhibit until this November. I'm Madeline Santos for Ryerson Broadcast News.
And that's the news today. I'm Christine Wilson.
And I'm Taria Esri. Thanks for watching and have a great day. That was a good show.